Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning. This is going to be my spoiler video. I'm fresh out of the theater. It's very late at night. I'm very tired. But let's talk some spoilers. And I am going to cut in this one. My non-spoiler review was all with no cuts at all, stream of consciousness. But this one, I think I'm going to have a few cuts. The opening scene with where Ethan and Grace, is that her name? The Haley Atwell character, when they get captured and are, when he's like beating his captors to death with the torture implements, and then it cuts to just her face and she's like shocked and stuff. That scene was amazing. I loved that. It was like the coolest opening scene ever, like cheering. I forgot to say this in my non-spoiler review. I'll say it here. The entire full IMAX theater was clapping at the end of it. But you will already know that because hopefully you're not watching this if you haven't seen it. This is spoilers. So opening scene, amazing. They did some silly like mask pulling off moments. Not just a couple though. Where they rescue the Guardians of the Galaxy girl, who I don't know if I like that she lived, because she like died at the end of that next movie, and then it's like she's alive now, and it's like, okay. I also don't like that the guy with the tall gray hair is the Phelps son. I think that's a stupid tie together. This movie was at risk of becoming like James Bond Spectre, which I didn't like how that movie had Blofeld basically be like the author of all of James Bond's pain. It doesn't quite go that level, but it was pushing close. They don't ever really do anything with that initial girl getting murdered by the main bad guy from number 7. Oh, I realized I could be talking about two different girls. The girl in Ethan's past that causes him to join the IMF, like that's it. She is a plot point to get him to join the IMF. Like, that's all. The action scenes, like you have the underwater scene, the airplane scene, those were both really cool. The underwater scene is the scene that you could get up and go pee during. My little brother fell asleep during that part, and I kind of nudged him, and he didn't really miss anything. Plot-wise. Now, visual-wise, like there's a lot of incredible set. Like, I think there's multiple like rotating sets in this movie. Very, very cool. Like some Christopher Nolan level, like big detail stuff. And speaking of Christopher Nolan, like I think movies might be done after this. Like it's so big and so intense. Like anyone tries to even approach this genre with this kind of, with like action like this, it's like you can't top that. So you're gonna have to top it in your characters and your writing and just being interesting action. And I love that opening scene where they were fighting the guards, and then it just cuts to the girl's face, or Haley Atwell or whatever his character's name, and she's just watching, and she's making all these faces as he's just beating these guys to death. That was awesome, and that was unique, and it was different. Like I've seen people get beat to death in movies. Like how many times can you show that? You know. So I like that this movie was creative and did that with the fight scene. And then he's all covered in blood, and he's like, "They were gonna kill you," and she's like, so I thought that part was amazing. I thought it was really kind of silly how, so there's those two guys from the number 7, the like CIA guys, like the tall gray hair guy and his buddy, like the black guy, I'll just say that instead of trying to dance around it. And then suddenly he's like on their team, and he's on their team for the rest of the movie. And it's like, dude, aren't you supposed to be at work tomorrow? Like with the CIA, like you're just on their team now. Like that was a little bit weird. Probably some of the dumbest stuff in the movie was, in my opinion, was the American Command Center with Madam President. That they just love saying Madam President. They said it like 100 times. But the American Command Center I thought was kind of dumb, and those scenes were a little bit tedious. Just watching all the different people talk about the big global stuff and showing their big glowing maps. Like I thought that those parts were probably the weak point. However, the other American military scenes, like on the aircraft carrier and on the submarine, those were awesome, and I really liked meeting those military people and watching them. It's just around the president, all that, I didn't like that as much. I did like how, and Mission Impossible's done this for a long time, but I did like how they'll like show false futures, right? Mission Impossible will be like, and then we do this, then this, and then this, and then it fails, right? I liked how in this one they were showing like nuclear apocalypse, like the whole world getting nuked. This is gonna sound so sick and wrong, but I love when they do that in movies. Like I love watching the world get nuked in movies. I absolutely do not want that to happen in real life, but in movies, it's just I don't know if it's cathartic or what, but there were some cool nuke like what if scenes, like very expensive looking nukes destroying cities and stuff. So enjoyed that. Luther's death was okay. He died saving an entire city. So that's a great way to die. That is a great reason to die in a movie. Kind of like in the movie Rogue One. They all die getting the Death Star plans to the rebels. Like, great way to die. However, they had him like terminally ill anyway, so it's like, oh no, our guy dying of cancer died. Okay, one thing me and my brother were joking about after this movie is the villain from the last movie. I can't even remember his name. He's got like the scruffy gray beard and he's like a knife guy, right? In the last movie, he was absolutely sinister, like terrifying and evil and smart. In this movie, he was like a goofball loser. Like he said, he jumped in a car and drove off and said, "Catch me if you can, Ethan." like no kidding. He's just like stupid lines. And he's just like laughing and cackling, and it's like, was this guy a joke? And he is a joke. And he died in one of the most amazing ways ever that me and my brother have decided to call the R&B, because he got racked and then he got brained. He's like, I'm the only one that has a parachute. Then he falls off and hits his nuts on the airplane and then flips around and like brains himself. And it's like, how do you end this crazy villain from the last movie in such a crazy way? I loved it. I loved that. But they did turn him into a joke, and sometimes the tone of the movie was like Ethan in the submarine when like apparently a Navy SEAL, I'm not sure who it was, but is like trying to kill him, right? Because he's an internet cultist. So Ethan's like breaking his foot and holding him, and then he's like kicking him in the face, and he's like, "You spend too much time on the internet." Like, Tom Cruise, are you telling us something here? I love that. I thought it was hilarious, but it was weird. So the underwater scene and the airplane scene, I was just shifting around in my seat. Like I was like uncomfortable with how he's going to get out of it, but I really enjoyed it. All right, confession. I really liked when him and Haley Atwell, even though she's way younger than him, were in the decompression chamber on the ice, and she was just snuggling him back to life. That was pretty swoony. Kind of like Val Kilmer and what's her face in The Saint when he's about to get hypothermia and she gets all snuggly with him. That's hot. Well, if I think of more stuff, more spoilers to talk about, we'll talk about them. But let me know what you thought of the movie. Let's talk some spoilers here. This is a spoiler zone. Spoiler time. Spoiler time zone. But yeah, R being your villain, rack and brain. That's so funny. I'm glad Ethan didn't die. I'm really, really, really glad Ethan didn't die. I'm glad Benji didn't die, even though he was totally gonna die. Oh, probably my favorite part of the whole movie is the detailed. It's called a sucking chest wound when your lung is about to collapse, and you have to plug the hole with a seal, and then you poke a hole in the lung with a tube. I can't remember the name of the tube, but I've had to practice that before on dummies, and I loved that scene. It was in the middle of an action scene, the airplane scene, I think, and it wasn't like when you cut away from an action scene that you're like, oh, let's get back to it. I was like, yes, more of the sucking chest wound surgery. So he totally could have died right there, and he didn't, and that's great. And I loved that surgery. I loved that it was in this movie. I really like this movie way more than number 7. Like I said, number 4 is still my favorite, followed by 1. And 7 and 8 are not my favorite, but the action is like heads and shoulders above any action ever in movies. Like there's gonna be a short list of stuff that can compete with this action-wise. And there was a lot of cheesy, like really cheesy stuff in this movie. And of course, now that I say that, my mind goes blank on it. But did you notice the cheesy stuff in it? Okay, well, I liked it. I'm happy with how it ended. I like that everybody gets a good send off into every different direction, and they're again, the world doesn't know what they've done for them. And Haley Atwell gives the entity to Ethan in a box, which is kind of a big deal. It's her trusting him more than any other human on the planet. And I think that's awesome. And I want them to have babies. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it right here. I know he's way older than her, but I think they should have babies. I think they should retire, and I don't want any more of these movies. I want other movies, or maybe movies just end, and we'll just see Avatar movies and Dune, and we'll be good. But no, I think they should have babies. I think we should do that. Let's do that. I'm still mad about Elsa. Is that her name? I did not like that they killed her dog. Still, he was supposed to have babies with her. Actually, maybe action stars in movies aren't supposed to have babies because babies tie them down from adventures. But anyway, what do you think? I'm gonna go to bed. It's really, 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 really late. I gotta work in the morning. But I really, really liked it, and I thought it was crazy. And I thought IMAX with the 45 minutes of the expanded aspect ratio, absolutely worth it. Did you see it in IMAX or not? And if you didn't see it in IMAX, let me know if you ever felt like your vision was narrowed. Or if you did see it in IMAX, let me know if you thought it was worth it. I had a great time. Also, it does elevate how good of a time I had when I go watch it with my little brother, my movie watching buddy. I think that definitely endears a movie to me when we do that. But yeah, okay, that's it. What do you think? See you in the next one.